All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our webinar. I'm going to give it a couple minutes to let people come in. There should be a couple questions that'll pop up for you, asking just a little bit about you guys. And then I also want to encourage you guys, if you have questions, put them in the Q&A. And if the Q&A doesn't end up working, you can also put them in the chat. And we'll get started in just about a minute. All right, it looks like it slowed down the people coming in, so I'm just gonna get started. Okay, so today we are talking about post-workout nutrition and recovery. So, oops. First, I'll introduce myself. My name is Petra Rock. I am a performance sports dietitian at Northwestern University. I personally work with women's basketball, men's and women's soccer, and I'm absolutely loving it. But I also oversee the student athlete cafeteria, basically. Used to be called the training table, but essentially where we feed them. And so I work with chefs and I work with, I'm actually employed by Levy Restaurants that I work with the chefs and their staff to feed our athletes. It's a very fun and different type of sports dietitian job, but I absolutely love it. And then I have some other background. I was a student at TCU for 6 years. Go Frogs. I own my own LLC, Patriots Eats RD. I have worked with the Green Bay Packers, the United States Olympic Committee, just trying to get a little bit of everything. So that's me. So now let's get started. So what we're going to learn today about post-workout nutrition, what to eat, the nutrition timing of it, very, very important. Why post-workout nutrition matters, how to make it happen, the 4 R's of recovery, and just some quick tips. So what to eat? It's important to consume adequate macronutrients, meaning our carbs, proteins, and antioxidants and fats, including vitamins, minerals, and water every day. The amount you consume based on your training schedule is crucial for reaching your optimal performance. So timing. So the timing can really influence how we feel overall and how we recover after a workout or a game. Throughout the day, you want to be fueling early in the day to meet your energy needs, but then fueling after is crucial so that whatever you put into that workout, that training, that game, you're going to gain after and reach that optimal performance and recovery. So, what is recovery and why is post-workout nutrition so important? Well, recovery is when the athletes return to a normal state of health, mind, or strength. So when you exercise, you stress out your body and you create acute or short-term inflammation. That's good for the body because, that's what pushes us to that next level. And that's what, breaks the tiny little muscle fibers and then rebuilds them stronger. But without that proper nutrition and those anti-inflammatory foods for like what we consume during post-workout, you're not going to gain anything. So specifically in athletes, our proper recovery, whether that's nutrition or sleep or stretching or anything, it essentially reduces fatigue and enhances performance. And like I said, it includes nutrition, sleep, and stress management. Another part, fluid and electrolytes. Those are lost during exercise, as well as glycogen stores, or what I like to call basically your pockets of carbs and energy in your muscles and in your body. So our main goals for our post-workout will be to replace fluid, electrolytes, and glycogen, or that energy, that fuel, make new muscle protein and red blood cells, and then provide adequate nutrients for immune function and anti-inflammation. So how are we going to do that? So there is something that is called the window of opportunity that's pretty commonly known in the sports nutrition field. Essentially, it's the idea that you want to try to consume a meal or a snack within 45 minutes after exercise. Now, there's new research coming out that we might have a little bit more time than that, but I still like to tell my athletes, eat as soon as you can after, because as soon as you can start that recovery, the better, because then you'll have more time between this session and the next. So what does rebuild those glycogen stores that is so helpful with recovery? Well, that's glucose. What is glucose? It's essentially the breakdown of any form of food, carbs, protein even, and fat. Those all can be broken down into glucose molecules, but you primarily get that from carbs or bread, rice, potatoes, those types, starchy vegetables. So what happens if, you aren't able to consume a full meal after workout, which we do essentially want you to do? Well, we want you to at least try to have a carbohydrate rich and protein rich snack, such as a chocolate milk, specifically chocolate. Why? Because it has more carbohydrates than regular milk. It has those quick sugars. Fruit and yogurt smoothie, Greek yogurt with fruit and granola. Got to add the granola in there. An egg on an English muffin. You get your protein from the egg, and an English muffin, you get your carbs. PB&J, such a great go-to. And an apple with peanut butter. I would almost say you want to try even more with that one, maybe add some pretzels in. But again, at this point, if this is all you can get, your body will take what it can get. So macronutrients, like I kind of touched on. First one, carbs. Those are what are replenishing those muscle glycogen stores. It's the most time sensitive factor for recovery. So the recommendations would be 1 gram per kilogram of body weight per hour for 4 hours post exercise. So you can do the math, but sometimes that's just not ideal. That's why I like to put into those specific examples, like a chocolate milk and a banana, or a bagel with some peanut butter, because you can, I think if you want to make these calculations and get really honed in on it, then reach out to a dietitian and have a dietitian help guide you. You can do it on your own as well, but some people don't really understand how to convert that into food. And that's what you need to do. And that's what a sports dietitian's job is. So essentially, this will get you restored up with those glycogen stores. Protein. So why is protein so important for after exercise? So we've got our glycogen stores being replenished. Now we need our protein so that our muscle can start being built. and repaired. Like I said, when you are working out, you are tearing little muscle fibers. And that's a good thing. You know, you don't want a big tear, obviously, but it's good to have that little tear because then they're going to utilize the protein that you consume and and break it down to amino acids, which will then essentially go into the muscle and rebuild it. There's a lot more to it, but you don't need to know the super nitty gritty science. Um, but that's why we want protein in that post, because what is your body going to use to rebuild? Not much. It's got its carbs, yes, but you got to get your protein. So complete protein sources would be things such as your dairy, eggs, meat, fish, tofu. Incomplete protein sources, and this is something that I really talk to a lot of people about. It's not always for just vegetarians, but you do have to think. Incomplete protein sources include grains, vegetables, fruits. What this means is that you're not going to get all of the amino acids you need for it to be a complete protein. So you're not going to be as optimally rebuilding and recovering that muscle. How you can do that is pairing two together. So, for example, grains, two pieces of bread. Peanut butter is a legume, which is also an incomplete protein. Put it together, and you've got a complete protein. Or rice and beans, fruit and pretzels. That's not a great example, to be honest, but try to get something with those items. So then consume within 2 to 3 hours post exercise. You want ideally a 3-to-1 carb to protein ratio. So let's say you have, and I'm going to break it down into some numbers. So let's say you have 7 grams of protein. That's about 1 ounce. That's not enough, but you would want to have about 45 grams of carbs, because that's 3 servings of carbs to 1 serving of protein. And then you can also do the protein per day calculation. But again, if you really want to map it out into a more simpler, straightforward situation, work with your sports dietitian. Fats. So people are like, oh, why do I have to eat fats? Aren't they just like equating to fat on my body? That's absolutely wrong. That is so far wrong, because fat is just essentially a more condensed form of energy. And it's crucial for hormone production and decreasing inflammation. When it comes to things such as omega-3 fatty acids, our dark leafy green vegetables, flax seeds, hemp seeds, walnuts, salmon, mackerel, tuna, olive oils, avocado oils, all of those things are going to help decrease inflammation. That inflammation you need to be decreased because you have really worked your body hard. And they taste good. Now, the 4 R's of recovery. These are something that you first learn when you are learning about sports nutrition. So the 4 things we want to do is replenish, repair, reinforce, and rehydrate. So what is replenish? What we talked about with the carbs. We're replenishing with we're replenishing our muscle glycogen with carbohydrates. So that's about, we give a good range of 30 to 60 grams of carbs. And you may need more depending on the intensity, volume of your training, or even your just body composition. If you're a bigger person, you're going to need more. So we want to replenish. We want to repair our skeletal muscle. Like I said, protein. So that's about 15 to 30 grams of protein in the snack. 20 grams is sufficient to build new muscle protein. But again, without the carbs, your protein doesn't really work to do that. So in combination, they have to go together. Reinforce body recovery. So consume a variety of antioxidant rich foods. So fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, colorful items, and also, turmeric, beets. I know there's a lot of talk about nitrates and such like that. Those are really important. And then rehydrate. For every 1 pound of weight lost in sweat, you want to consume 20 to 24 ounces of fluid. That's about like 2.5 to 3 cups of water, or a sports drink such as Gatorade, Powerade, and ways that individuals who, you have to be on the run, and you don't really have much time, you just got to get everything in once. That's where, a sports drink comes in, or a smoothie. Get a smoothie with you're getting your fluids. You put some Greek yogurt in there, and fruit, you're getting your antioxidants and your protein, a little carbs, and then you add some honey or something, a banana. You're getting everything all in once. So try to utilize those little tips. So examples of post-exercise snacks, a bagel, deli meat, cheese, a fruit and protein smoothie, kind of just what I just said, a banana and Greek yogurt, cup of oatmeal with 2 hard-boiled eggs, tuna and 2 slices of bread or crackers, cottage cheese and half cup of granola. Add some fruit on top of that cottage cheese. That'll add some carbs and antioxidants, and it tastes really good. So, and you can see it's kind of in the carb to protein ratio like we want, about a 3-to-1 carb to protein. So now here is where I'm going to need a little bit of participation in the chat box. So we have a case study. Samantha, she is a collegiate volleyball player. She works hard in practice and will typically be drenched in sweat after. She is usually physically tired after practice as well. So how long after practice should Samantha refuel? I'm going to open up the chat and see. Immediately, yes, within 45 minutes. Love it. You guys got it. Perfect. What types of things should she eat? Kind of just went over this. Protein and carb, yep, and antioxidants. But a lot of times you can get those antioxidants within some of the proteins and carbs. How much fluid should Samantha drink? Yep, 20 to 24 fluid ounces for every pound lost in sweat. Awesome. On top of her daily need. Yes, Carly, you know what you're doing. And then what types of fluid can she drink? Remember, she is drenched in sweat. Yes, Jose, with electrolytes. Exactly. All right. Next case study, Tyler. So Tyler is a high school lacrosse player. He typically practices 2 hours a day and will have a game on the weekend. He is starting to get serious about the sport and wants to optimize his training. So what types of food should Tyler eat after practice or a game? It's kind of the same thing as the one before. We're just really reviewing it. Give me examples of actual foods, because you can say carb to protein or carb and protein, but we got a good PB&J sandwich. Love that one. Yep, PB&J with a banana. I love the banana edition. Great. Yogurt and fruit, Greek yogurt and fruit. Toast with peanut butter and banana. Love it. Great job, guys. So then what steps should he take after a workout? So what's the first thing he should do? I would say kind of the same answer to last one, refuel. Exactly. So post-workout snack, I would say, so this is what I like to tell my athletes that I work with because they're in college, they don't always have time, they're on the go. I say, grab a snack. Oh, yes, Carly, the 4 R's. Exactly. Essentially, I'll be like, grab a snack on the way to the locker room while you're drinking some fluids. You'll, get showered and everything. Then, as soon as you can, go sit down and have a good meal, rest and recover. Perfect. How can Tyler replace the fluids lost? Okay, guys, this is very elementary at this point. I think we can get through these quick. Basically drinking chocolate milk, water, sports drinks. And then how can he optimize his performance and recovery? Carly, I think you hit it on the head with the 4 R's. That covers like almost all of the questions. So we'll move on. Okay. Ooh, I like this one. So how can we adjust these post-workout meals? So the first one, 3 pieces of fried chicken, side of fries, and a 16-ounce fruit punch. How can we adjust that a little? Obviously, he's probably had to go into a fast food, which is totally fine. We got to do that. Yes, I like that. Grilled instead of fried. And why is that? Because we want to do frying increases inflammation, and we want to decrease the inflammation. Yes, water instead. Totally. You could also do a sports drink. Look for a different side. Exactly. Maybe they have some mashed potatoes or roasted potatoes, or a side of fruit. Awesome. Okay, the next one, a croissant with butter and jam. So what I think this one is a little bit, why this is a little rough is because it's a little bit excessive fat. And it's lacking, it's lacking protein. So I would say, you can just add something like peanut butter to it for sure. I just think that certain fats will increase inflammation even more. And that's likely a saturated fat, the butter that they put in the croissant. So delicious. But yes, whole wheat bread or a bagel, even a plain white bagel for its increased absorption with some peanut butter, perfect. Hot dog on a white bun and Cheetos. Maybe we could make that, I don't know, a chicken sausage. It can still be on a white bun. Honestly, as long as they're getting their carbs. Yes, complex carbs would be better. And then maybe instead of the Cheetos, we do some pretzels or fruit. Yes, exactly, because we need to get our antioxidants in. I really like that idea. 2 cups of Honey Nut Cheerios. I love Cheerios, but we're missing a little bit of something. Yep, milk or yogurt. And yep, for protein, exactly. I would say you could even slice a banana on top. I know my mom used to do that as I was growing up. Add peanut butter to the cereal. Ooh, I love that. I actually make really good peanut butter bars, peanut butter Cheerio bars. They're essentially peanut butter, Cheerios, and honey mixed together, and they make the most delicious bars. Anyways, I'll keep this going. 3 Bisquick pancakes with maple syrup. I still think they could have pancakes. Just maybe add, again, peanut butter. Maybe put some, have some turkey sausage on the side. Yeah, ham. Sweet. Because we got our carbs, we just needed some protein. And then add some fruit because we need some antioxidants. 2 fried eggs. I would say you could combine the Bisquick and the eggs. You get some eggs, you get some pancakes, carbs, protein. All you're missing is, does anybody know what you might be missing if we combine the pancakes and the eggs? Berries. Perfect, Carly. Love it. Ooh, eggs and avocado on toast. That is a very good idea. Awesome. All right. Oh. So if you want to learn more about recovery mode, you can scan this QR code and it'll take you right to that article. Facts. So this is a little quick quiz before we're wrapping it up. Is eating after a workout just as important as eating before a workout? I would say absolutely. I would even say in some cases even more important, but I always want you to eat before a workout. So I'm just going to say yes. Why? Exactly. Yes, to top off those glycogen stores and rebuild those muscles. Why is it so important to eat carbs and protein after a workout? We've gone over this multiple times now. If somebody doesn't get it, awesome. Build muscle, restore glycogen. I did my job. So I'm a busy student and constantly on the go. How can I make sure I eat in the window of opportunity? This is something I practice with my athletes a lot. And sometimes it's not even nutrition related. Eat as soon as you can. Yep. But how can meal plan? Have a pre-planned snack. Yes, yes, yes. Pack meals, find on the go places. It's exactly what I was going to say. Planning, making sure that they know what resources, having snacks in your bag that are carb and protein. It really does come down to even putting timers on your phone. Like, did you get a snack? It sometimes has to get to that way because they're so busy. Awesome. So just a little review. It's important to consider what you eat as well as when you eat. Timing, guys, timing is key. Eating a sufficient meal or snack after exercise is crucial for recovery. We want to prioritize carbs, protein, and fluids. And if you can't eat a full meal, we want to have a snack that's full of carbs and protein, and I'd add antioxidants. And then remember the 4 R's of recovery: replenish, repair, reinforce, and rehydrate. We just went over this, but pack on the go snacks with you during your school and or training. Keep a reusable water bottle to stay hydrated, especially after a workout, and plan ahead. Make sure you look to the next day and week to see how you can fit healthy snacks and meals in. This is something, start them young. I still have adults, 22-year-old college football players that don't know, don't have a plan. So start them young. Please let me know if you have any questions. Oh, we have more tips. Sorry. Get enough sleep, very important, 7 to 9 hours. And do your research. Finding healthy food doesn't have to be hard or expensive. Trust me, does not have to be expensive. Look at the grocery stores. Come up with some options. Talk to your dietitian. The harder the battle, the sweeter the victory. We gotta love that. Please let me know if you have any questions, or while you're thinking of those. We do want to let you know about our great resource that's offered by My Sports Dietitian, called My Nutrition Plan. So this program, it offers you 2 weeks of free sports nutrition coaching. That's a lot. And that's not cheap outside of this. Um, During the free trial, your, highly qualified sports dietitians will assist you in multiple aspects of sports nutrition. After you have your free session, then you can decide if the 3-month program is a right fit for you. So this program will improve your energy levels, help you reach your goals, your overall strength, focus, recovery, and endurance. And then also make sure to check out our early bird sign up offer. Launch date for this program is Monday, October 10th. If you sign up now, you can gain access to $30 off our per month coupon code, but this is only for early bird subscribers and only for the first 100 subscribers. So make sure you sign up by visiting the QR code or My Sports RD. All right. And I believe that is it. Please let me know if you have any other questions. Oh, I had one question that I missed. Let me quickly answer Gretchen's question, and then we should wrap up. So she said, there are a lot of recovery bars, ready to drinks, etc., that have stevia, sugar alcohol, and sugar subs. Do all of those increase inflammation? There's research out there. I would say the reason I avoid those is because, you're not really getting what you need. If you're having substitute sugars, you're not getting the adequate glycogen restores. So, they're not really recovery bars or ready to drink recovery drinks because they're not helping you recover. I could not answer for sure that sugar alcohols, sugar subs increase inflammation because it varies person to person. To be honest, I have some athletes that those artificial sweeteners, they do upset their digestive system, but I have some that don't. So I hope I answered your question. All right. And that's it. Okay, I hope you guys had a wonderful time listening. I hope this was beneficial. Please, I'm an open book. I'm an open resource. Please reach out if you have any further questions. I look forward to working with you. All right. Thanks, guys. Have a good night.